Coming to you from the Yard Dawgs Podcast Studio. A show for the fans, by the fans. Talking all things Cleveland Browns. From our mic to your ears. With your hosts, Jason Hand, Mikey P, and Ian ColdTrain'd Cold Iron.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
Yes, you are now in the yard. Welcome to another episode of the Yard Dawgs Podcast. This is a show for the fans, by the fans. I'm your host, Jason Hand. The Yard Dawgs Podcast is brought to you by Network 216. To check out all of our Ohio sports content, subscribe to our Network 216 YouTube channel. Gentlemen, Mikey P, Ian ColdTrain'd, how are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Pretty good, man. Feels good.
Man.
Feels good to be back on.
Yeah.
ColdTrain'd, we were talking pre-show, man. You got a new hat on, dude. Show us this hat, man. It looks pretty cool.
Yes, the Father's Day gift from the old wife. She picked it up at Lids for me. This is one of those hats we were talking about a little bit on pre-show. Here's the back too. I do like the logo on the back. Nothing beats a back. I've been a snapback. I've actually been a snapback guy myself lately, just because I used to be like I am a 7 3/8 type of guy. Like I usually do a sizing, but snapbacks are just so much easier to rock out. They're good with anything. But this is one of those hats that I'm sure a lot of Browns fans will agree. When the draft hats came out, I thought they looked like crap. I'm not going to lie. I thought they looked like just absolute shit. I was like, oh, this is horrible. I know a lot of fans on Twitter were talking about it. Like, oh, this is shitty hat, man. Shitty draft hat. And I actually have it here. I happen to have it right here. This was my favorite draft hat they ever came out with. I was telling you guys about that before. I don't know if you remember me talking about this. Was the year we drafted Newsome. They released these. This was actually too a meaningful hat because this was when they went to Cleveland. You know, that draft was actually in Cleveland, and my wife and I got to go. But yes, new hat, new Ian, new hat, new ColdTrain'd. I'm excited, man. It's as soon as the first thing I said when I got the hat, I said, "Oh, I can wear this on the podcast." So here she is.
Very cool. Yeah, I actually am sporting the same hat you have, except it's brown and yours is white.
Yeah. Well, that's good. We're not we're not twins. That's good. We got the whole option here. You got options on the show.
That's right. And we both have bulging biceps, so it's good that we have different hats because people wouldn't be able to tell us apart. So this is good.
Twins.
Well, speaking of hats and logos, I want to start the show off with this, guys. The logo contest was put to a close. I want to say a little over a week ago. Yeah, it was last week. And I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on this. It came down to two logos, and this was my favorite of the two. This was my favorite. There's been mixed reviews on Twitter. Some people love it, some people don't. Wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it. Mikey P, I'll start with you.
So originally I didn't care for it that much. Got to think it's too dark, and I still think that. I saw someone like filled in the eyes and made the eyes like have real eyes instead of the shadow. And with eyes, this logo is so much better. Like when they did it, I was like, oh my God, it's a simple tweak. Am I going to seek out gear on it? Probably not. If I see something pretty cool, I don't like I call those dad hats, the ones they got. Like they don't fit my big ass head. Like my head's really deep. So I need the snapback or the fitted hats or the flex hats. Those hats don't seem to ever fit my head, so I doubt I'll get one of those. But I tell you what, if they come out with a cool looking snapback, I'm not opposed to spending $40 on one of those.
ColdTrain'd, I know you're into all the styles and the Browns. We met at the tailgate and you had that satin starter jacket, man. You're into this kind of stuff. What do you think about the new logo, bro?
I mean, I told you guys in our group chat on Twitter, I'm a Brownie the Elf guy, man. It's nothing against the dog. something about it, man. I just don't. I'm sure I'll buy something with this logo eventually. I mean, I'm a Browns diehard fan. I wear everything brown, so eventually there's something that will make my way. Whether somebody gives it as a birthday gift, Christmas. I mean, birthdays in August, Christmas gift, anything like that. I'm sure I will see it in my future. But as far as me myself purchasing something with this logo, again, I'm not saying I hate it. I'm just also saying I don't love it. I'm kind of in between on it. I think what Mikey's talking about, looking at it now, obviously I like these new graphics on the show. Looking at it now, if you open the eyes, yeah, it could be a bit better, but also the bottom of it needs to be a little bit cleaned up for me. Like maybe the what do you call that? The mouth area, just where the slobber comes out. Like if you could have just cleaned that up a little bit, moved, I don't know, maybe the chain. I don't know, man. It's not perfect for me. Out of all the options that we've already talked about, this was the best one. I guess I just, I guess I'm with Mikey. I guess maybe I need to, maybe if I saw his eyes and saw what he was seeing, you know what I mean? Out of that dog, coming out that dog, I'd be more apt to buy merch. But, I know we originally said that it would look horrible on merch. It does look like it could look like even what you have here, Jason, looks like it looks good on gray. I don't really like gray myself, but either way, something just doesn't sit right, man. But eventually you will see. I'll be the hypocrite. You'll see ColdTrain'd wearing it. I'll rock it eventually, but at least for right now, I'm not going out and running out to the stores, if you will.
Okay, so my thoughts. I actually like this logo. I've said this on previous episodes when it was coming down to the end. I personally like it. And there's a couple things that made it special to me. We all know about the Easter eggs that are in it, the hidden logos. That did it for me. The 8 dog spikes, the state of Ohio, the dog pound section, the East End Zone. I thought that was cool. The guitar pick. There's 8 of them. I'm not naming all 8 of them, but I like that. I also like that the Browns opened it up to Browns fans. It shows that they value what we think, and they kind of opened it up as a competition, a contest, and you could just tell that the artist put a lot of thought into it. I like it. And I'll tell you this, guys. I'll tell you this. So my dad, who is not on social media, I mean, he has Facebook, right? But he's not on Twitter, so he doesn't see all the comments. There's mixed reviews on this, but my dad doesn't see any of that. And I didn't tell him, that some people liked it, some people hated it. My dad sent me a text message and he said, "Man, the new logo is awesome." He goes, "I'm going to get it as a tattoo." That's how much he likes it. He's going to be his next tattoo. And his goal is to have that tattoo by the time we go to the Hall of Fame induction in August. Although he said, that's not a lot of time. So he doesn't know he'll be able to get it done. But my dad likes it. So that's kind of an unbiased opinion. He doesn't see other people's comments and what they think. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents. I like it. And I will be buying some merch. I will. I'm on a little bit of a budget right now, so I'm gonna have to wait on that. But you'll definitely see me rocking the new Dog Pound logo soon enough. And here's a comment, guys. We're having comments rolling in from Facebook. Craig Foster, he says, "I personally like it. In my opinion, I like the hidden objects in it and the history of the team."
Yeah, I'm with you guys. That stuff's cool. I mean, I'm not knocking that. I'm just solely looking at the actual face of that dog. Me myself, maybe I just want a meaner dog. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, dude. It's just everybody kind of, I think, has it. They vary the dog how they want. I was also a fan of I got it up in my man cave here. I was also a fan of the old school dog logo. So I don't know. Call me old school if you will. I guess I'm. It's hard for me to kind of adjust to the new age. I guess that's all.
A lot of people don't know this. I don't know why you would know this, but I actually have the Cleveland Browns dog tattooed on my chest, like the old school one. Like,
wow.
I got it when I was 19 years old. So we're talking 28 years ago I got it. So wow. I'm a big fan of the new.
You learn
Yes.
something new every day, Mikey, about this guy, man. Did you know this, Mikey?
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, I've got the
Learn something new
Browns
every day.
Browns dog tattooed on my chest. So
Although we
I
haven't
mean,
been,
are you talking like the whole chest piece? I mean,
like
how
left
big are
pec,
you
right
talking?
pec?
Yeah, that's
It's-
what I need to understand here.
it's the right pec. It's not the whole chest. It's the right
Okay.
pec. Yeah.
The right pec? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, the right
All
pec.
right. All right, right by your heart. Okay. All right. I like it.
I will say that it was a lot more swollen back in my younger days. It's kind of shrunk up a
Yeah.
little bit,
Yeah.
but he still looks pretty aggressive. He's just a little
So
smaller.
is that what you're
As,
saying? You're
as long
bulkier
as
then?
it's not a full, homage, chess piece, I'll let you go with that.
All right. Well, thanks for checking in, Craig, and hope you're enjoying the show. This is the Yard Dawgs Podcast. We're on several platforms on Facebook, Twitter, a couple pages on Twitter, and a couple pages on Facebook. But we're also on YouTube. So if you happen to be looking at us on YouTube and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps out the show, and it helps out Network 216. Right now, we're going to take care of a little housekeeping. Mikey P, talk to us about homage.
Homage, man. I don't know what more I can say about homage other than if you don't have homage gear, then you're doing it wrong. But of course, the Yard Dawgs Podcast and Network 216 are proud partners with Homage, the apparel company. If you haven't tried them yet, you're missing out. Homage is always coming out with on-point, cutting-edge sports apparel. Showing support for your team doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. As a bonus, you will get special discounts using our link to shop at Homage. Support the show and do it in style by shopping for all your favorite sports teams gear at Homage. Find the link on our website, www.network216ohio.com, or look for our links on Twitter at Yard Dawgs Pod. Shop Homage today. I mean, it is June. You can get your Guardians gear now. Get on board for Brown season. Cavs season will be coming back in October. Buckeye season's coming. Cash in, man. It just had Father's Day. Some of you dads out there got some coin. Go to the links, man. You'll thank me later.
Check it out. Yeah, Homage, man. We're out of hoodie season, right? Everybody's out of that. We're in t-shirts and shorts weather now, but I bought my son, Zach, a Grateful Dead hoodie. He's following the Grateful Dead tour right now, and he brought his hoodie with him. He's still wearing hoodies even in the early summer, but he loves the Grateful Dead hoodie made by Homage. ColdTrain'd, I see you have an Homage shirt on. I do as well. This is one of my favorite shirts. I love it. I love orange, obviously because of the Browns, but this shirt is fantastic, made by Homage, and they're affordable, and also they're officially licensed by the NFL. ColdTrain'd. Yeah, we kind of have the same shirt, right? Kind of.
Yeah, very similar. I got the schedule on the back though. I don't think you got that.
I do not.
This has the schedule on. This is 2022, but
He's
schedule on the back. Even though it's not really a memorable season, but still, it's kind of cool. You have the season on the back.
I didn't even see that one. That like skated past my shopping eyes.
Trust me, I don't know where Sarah finds these items, man. But I told Sarah I needed some Homage, and she hooked it up with about 5 different T-shirts, and I'm still wearing them now. I still haven't worn them all. So
fantastic. Well, shop for Homage. It's great gear. You'll love it. Guys, we are smack dab in the middle of the Browns offseason. Don't worry, we're going to talk about Browns news today. But for the first part of the show, ColdTrain'd, you've been a co-host on this show for almost a year. We're approaching a year coming up real soon.
Wow, has it been that long?
August, it'll be a year.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Flies, man. No, dude, I can't believe it, man. Wow.
So we know you like the Browns. We all know that. Our audience knows that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be a co-host of the Yard Dawgs Podcast. But you also have hobbies. You're a husband. You're a father. You have a fairly new baby Kaya. But you also play flag football. And I wanted to spend a little time talking about that. I think it's super cool. Number one, that you do that. That just shows you're a true fan of the game, not just the Browns, but you're a fan of football. And so I wanted to spend the first part of the show talking about your flag football. I saw on Facebook earlier this week you had some posts. You brought baby Kaya to one of your games. I just thought that was really cool. So tell us about the league that you're in, man, and what it's all about.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is what I do. Hell, when I met my wife, that was actually one of the, before you get married, you meet somebody that you care about. You usually try to be upfront about your hobbies and kind of what you do. And this is one of the, oh God, pictures up already. This is one of those things. I had been playing flag since I got out of college. So I think I'm up to maybe 9 or 10 years at this point. I'm about 10 years deep into it. Started out in Cleveland. The picture you're seeing here is the original ColdTrain'd money team. Good group of guys there. That was my photo shoot. I think I was, like I said, I want to say right out of BG, right out of Bowling Green College, right there. But just honestly got involved with flag for the love of NFL. I was an NFL fan, and I loved what Myles Garrett did, and I didn't know anything about football. I just wanted to line up and do my thing, and it seemed pretty fun to me. So I tried it out, and like I said, I started in Cleveland playing defensive end. Usually when you're new to flag, a lot of these guys will laugh that understand the game of flag. If you don't really have a position or you just say you'll play wherever, usually that coach or that owner will be, yeah, you're going to rush. Just because defensive line is just such an important position in the game, but it's also just a position I think a lot of teams will put you just because it's not that you can't play the other positions, but rush is, it's pretty much one job. You get the quarterback, you sack him, or you make him rush his throw, and that affects the whole game. But anyways, enough about me. What I'm doing right now, it's Columbus, Ohio Flag Football League, COFFL. It's run by Mike Tatum, local football celebrity, ties to STV, a nationally known flag football team in the area. Some of you guys might have actually heard of it. It's called Stop the Violence, also known as STV. Also, kudos to him. He just won a championship with the Omaha Beef as their new offensive coordinator. They're in the CIF Arena Football League. So if any of you guys that are following Arena Football and saw the Omaha Beef win, that was actually Tatum's team. It was his first year as OC, offensive coordinator. Makes sense to me. I mean, they've won many national titles, many regional titles in the area and in the States with flag football. He runs the offense before he played quarterback, so it all makes sense to me. But hats off to him for that. But he runs the league out here in Columbus. Right now it's at two levels, basically upper and lower. The upper are reserved for like your pro teams, your mediocre teams, not mediocre in a bad sense, but just your teams that have been around, the guys have been playing together for a while. Your lower teams are basically reserved for it's also considered rec, which is the lowest level. It's just guys out there trying to have fun, do their thing. The talent, as far as the two levels, I mean, I'll be honest, guys, I just started doing the upper level in Columbus this season, played 2 games last Sunday, and I got to be honest with you fellas, this isn't going to be easy, man. The athletes that are on that upper level compared to lower, it's definitely like high to low. You're talking about, instead of maybe in a lower level, you'll have one good receiver. I mean, the teams that we played yesterday, Sunday, which is the Raiders and Reapers, they have 3 or 4 receivers that can burn you. So it's very hard, and they're not doing. The thing about the upper level too in Columbus, they're not doing just standard lineman sets that you'll see in the NFL. Like they're doing, they're spreading it out. They're spreading out their athletes. They're doing a lot of run option, using their speed on their team. Where, especially for a guy like me who's 220 trying to catch a quarterback. Let's just say I went back to school this past Sunday, guys. 0 sacks, 0 flag pulls. Just because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the game. A lot of times in flag football, it's a little bit of luck too. And for whatever reason, whenever I was out there on the field, it seemed like the action was going the other way. It's one of those unfortunate situations where I just wasn't really able to get even close to a quarterback just because they get it out fast, man. I mean, the two levels are very, very different from each other. Cleveland, to disperse or to as far as the difference, Cleveland ran three leagues, three divisions, which is basically pro, semi-pro, and rec. Obviously, in Columbus, you have upper and lower. And like I said, in the upper division, you're going to face teams like the Raiders, STV, teams that are nationally known. So, trust me, if I could just get a sack or a flagpole, I'd be loving my life, man. But man, I got to get in the practice facility and get my man and get involved with some cardio here, man. Because I'll tell you, we had two of the better teams of that division Sunday, man. And my new team, Wild Boys, we had some trouble with those teams, man. It's not going to be easy for the upper league. But what you see on the screen, well, I'll mention that before I end on the COFFL. But basically, he's got a Summer Jamboree flag football tournament coming for the community. He's got a lot of stuff going on, face painting, bounce houses for the kids, all 5-on-5, 5-on-5 non-contact, 5-on-5 contact. He does do a big boy. This is kind of popular. You guys will probably get a laugh out of this one. He does a big boy division where, like, basically, and they have the scales too to prove it, you have to be 250 pounds and over to participate in this league, and it's all like big boys doing a 5-man league where you got a quarterback, you'll have your receivers. It's the same thing. It's a little bit different. 5-man's a little bit different than 8-man. It's a little bit smaller field, smaller, obviously smaller players. You'll have maybe a 10-15 max team versus like a 30-man roster and 8-man. But a lot of cool stuff going on for the city. Tatum's a good dude. I guess obviously I'm reading off here too. Jerseys will be provided. So anybody in the Cleveland or Columbus area, save that date, July 22nd, Saturday. It's going to be a nice event out there and definitely, enjoyable for your friends and family. Like I said, I mean, as you said, Jason, I just had my daughter out there this weekend with my wife. It was a good time, good family atmosphere for the, for you to enjoy a little leisure cardio and football on Sundays. But I do enjoy it.
Dude, if I was anywhere close to that area on July 22nd, I would be there, man. That sounds like a fun event. It's 5-on-5 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Non-contact. They have the lower, the upper division. So it sounds like a fun event, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially non-contact, it's fun for everybody, there's not really much injury and whatnot involved. I'll get into that here in a second, but yeah, it's going to be a good time. Like I said, that should be a great time. They also have a Cleveland. I'll have to get the date from Tatum. They also have a Cleveland versus Columbus. A lot of teams talking trash in each city right now, where a lot of times our comment boards will kind of relate to each other. And then you got Cleveland guys, hey, we're the best. Columbus guys, hey, we're the best. Like, obviously, Cleveland has Reapers, Raiders, STV. Cleveland, I know they have BO. I'm not really too. I'll be honest with you guys. Don't kill me, Cleveland. I'm not too familiar with who's been nationally known or winning all the awards, but I do know BO is hot right now over there. My boys from the Mob Runners, they just won the rec over there with Mark Smith's league. So hats off to them. A lot of those guys that even in that picture that you saw with me on with the damn bandana, thinking I'm cool as shit. Those are the guys I played with, and now they just won their first ship with the team called the Mob Runners. So I tell you, man, this flag community, it kind of reminds me of high school or college. When you were fraternities in college or in high school, everybody pretty much knows each other. You might not talk to that guy, but after you're playing for session after session, you get to know these guys, and it's all good fun, man. It's always a good time.
All right, so this picture right here, dude, this is your squad from this year, or was it last year?
Well, this has been my squad. This is the specialist squad. This has been my squad for, pretty much since I started in Columbus. My buddy Jackie Moon, he runs the whole team. This was one of our. I'm trying to think. Oh, this was obviously, this is why we have this up there. This was the actual rec championship that we won in the COFFL. This was a huge feat for us, just because, with a lot of NFL players, we'll talk about in their interviews, where you got that monkey off your back. I think we had tried to win rec maybe 2 or 3 times before this, just got hosed, maybe a first round knockout or second round knockout. But this one was special, man. A lot of special guys on that team. We were able to keep our core. I mean, a lot of times with flag football, the toughest thing that you have to do as an owner or manager is try to keep that core together. Just like with the Browns, same thing. You know, like you want to keep your core together, your Nick Chubbs, your Myles Garretts, you know, your Deshaun Watsons, and then you just try to add on little by little. Kind of what the Browns have been doing this offseason, you know, where you have a couple holes after every session, you try to fill them with better talent. If there's a guy that's not pulling his weight, you know, maybe you put him back in the depth chart and then you move somebody up or you bring somebody on that can do better. But that championship was pretty cool, man. COFFL Specialist has been a team that I've been affiliated with, you know, since I've been out in Columbus. We have 5 rings to our name. We won 4 out in Mansfield, right with the MOFFL out there with Chris Landon, good guy out there as well. He's running a flag football out in Mansfield. There's also a flag football league I know in Lima. I mean, dude, there's literally leagues all over, dude. If you want to get involved with football, and don't, you know, especially our older crowd that listen to the show, don't give me that, oh, Ian, I'm 40, or Ian, I'm 45, or Ian, I'm in my 50s. You would be very surprised, gentlemen, the ages that are out there, especially quarterback or a position, you know, if you're quarterback, there's rules kind of protecting them. I saw a guy the other day by the name of Bummer that played in Cleveland when I was there when I was young. He's still doing it. He's still playing in co-ed right now. I mean, this guy is still slinging the rock. And I want to say, gentlemen, don't hurt me, Bummer, if you're listening. I know he's in his 50s. He might be late 50s. And he's still slinging it. So
That's awesome.
That's the thing about it, man. It's good rec. It's good cardio for everybody. I plan on playing this stuff for as long as I can. I mean, I'm the guy that obviously I'll stick around for a while, but I told my wife, and she knows this to be true, I told my wife, you know, once I start kind of being in you see, is there an over 50 league? Believe it or not, like I said, there are a couple leagues like that as well. But like I said, there's still current players that are playing in their 50s, and that is a true fact. But yeah, it's just, I can't tell you guys enough. Pretty much it's, you know, my life is like my wife, my daughter, flag football on Sundays, and Browns football. That's like my top 4. So this is just, it's enjoyable to, it's enjoyable, ColdTrain'd going to wreck the league. It's enjoyable to talk about it just because it's just been so much a part of my life. But I think why it has been is just because, like I said, again, it's that community of gentlemen. It's a community of guys. Football aside, I think I told you guys this on the show when my daughter was in ICU. I had teammates actually from this picture hit me up. I had personal messages. Hell, my one dude that I knew from flag, Big Al, shout out to him. He was singing me a prayer, singing me a Christian song over the phone for my daughter. I mean, these are guys, you know, you can say what you want about flag football. We're grown men with flags on, or whatever you want to call it, you know, the haters out there. It's a good community. It's all, you know, grown adults just getting action, getting out there. We all go to our jobs on Monday. You know what I mean? We're just trying to have a little fun on a Sunday, especially with football season ain't going around. But it's just a good time, man. Honestly, if I could go back, I would do flag football over and over and over again. I mean, it's just something that you really want to be involved with if you have the time to do it. Obviously, I'll push my daughter to do it. Hopefully she does it one day, and my buddy Jackie will coach her up and make her a stud. But I'm really looking forward to, you know, my daughter playing one day as well.
That's awesome, ColdTrain'd. I will say this. So the viewers can't see this photo. You probably can't zoom in on it, but I did when you sent it to me. And there's 3 things that I noticed. Number one, all of you guys are wearing a championship ring, and some of them are showing it off. The second thing I noticed is you have the MVP for offense and defense. They're both holding up plaques for the league on your team. And I think that's pretty cool. So that's the 3 things I noticed. You have a offensive MVP, defensive MVP, and you're all holding up rings. So you just won the championship. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I will be honest with you, fellas. It's winning is everything, man. I mean, it's when you actually are winning and you're bringing championship rings and you're able to keep those. And I have obviously my 5, you know, in my own personal stash here, my man cave. I mean, it's just a great feat to have. I mean, I'm at my age now, where, you know, I'm not saying I'm not hunting for rings. Of course, I'm still hunting. But right now, I'm trying this upper. I want to, you know, up my game a little bit at my age now. I feel like if I'm going to do upper, I'm going to up my game. I got to do it now before I get into my 40s. I'm 35 years old, so I'm still trying to kind of hang in and do my thing. But I'm excited for this upper comp level, guys. It's going to be, like I said, it's not going to be easy, but that's what I want. I want the thrill of it. I want I want to have to try harder, if you will. I don't want to get used to, too easy a competition and all that. So, yeah, that's a picture of Kai right there. Man, she's a little sweetheart. I'll tell you a funny joke about my wife, too, and if Tatum's still watching, he'll probably be laughing. I don't know what it is about my wife. Whenever she comes to the flag football, and you might not show up for a year, but she'll come back. The thing about my wife is she's a teacher. No matter whose kids it is, my wife always has 1 to 2 kids on her lap. Like, I'll go over to the sideline, and I'll go in the game. I'll come back to the sideline, and my wife's got 1 or 2 random kids on her lap, just showing her drawings or not just. I told my wife, I said, Sarah, why is there always a kid on you? She's like, I don't know. They just asked to sit on my lap. So it's like that's the kind of community and the kind of stuff that is going on to where it makes you laugh a little bit because, like I said, I stepped away for 5 minutes. She's got 2 different kids I've never even seen before on her lap, having a good time, showing her drawings, stuff like that. But she enjoys it. Kaya enjoyed herself. She had her little Cheeto puff she was eating on, so she was all excited about that. And then she must have not seen sweat. She's only a year and 2 months. I don't think she's seen sweat in her life because when I had her in my arms, she kept like pointing to my sweat on my arms. And I guess in Jason's words, my bulging bicep, she was pointing at it. And I don't think it was the muscle. It was like as I said, it was all wet, soaked. But I think that was the first time my daughter actually saw sweat in her lifetime.
So all right. So the positions you play, defensive end, linebacker, and you said you played one other position. What is that?
This is more of just a laugh, but we did do it a little bit. 2-point conversion running back. Basically, like we'd be up 2-3 scores. Now it's getting on Jackie. Hey man, let me get involved in the offense. And you won't throw me the ball. He stopped throwing. I mean, he gave me one. I think he gave me one catch 5 years ago. It was one of those. Funny thing about Jackie, one of those. What was that movie with Adam Sandler, dude? What is the name of that movie, dude? Longest Yard. It's one of those movies, where that dude, it was like, I'll play quarterback. So yeah. Jackie, I'm like, hey, I want to be a receiver, Jack. Maybe I want to be a receiver. I don't want to rush anymore. Let me be a receiver. Hit me. And Jackie throws me this 80-mile-per-hour fastball from like 5 feet away. And obviously I'm not expecting this, so of course I butterfingers it. And that was, the thing about Jackie, and I'm sure all the receivers will be out there laughing that know him, he gives you one shot, man. That was my one shot. Let's just be realistic, or let's be honest. I never got to play receiver from there. I just continued to rush. But like I said, I got on him in Mansfield because we started winning rings over there, and we were kind of having fun with the offense towards the end of the year. And I was like, hey, let me get in there. So basically, it would just be like a little direct snap action, just some straight trickery where I'd come off the side. They'd be like, big set. I'd come in. They'd be like, oh, ColdTrain'd's coming in to block. And little did they know I was going to get the ball the whole time. And I would always come right in because they don't think the 220-pound guy's going to get the ball and just put it over the pylon. But you're talking, they're 3 yards away. It's easy football for me to comprehend to where the ball just comes in my hand and, just get over the pylon. But yeah, that's obviously what I played in there. But like I said, mainly right. I always loved the rush off the right end. Obviously, again, with my Myles Garrett roots, my Browns roots. 95, another fun fact for you guys, you Browns fans, 95 has always been my number because I always vowed that I would play like Myles, and I would always do my best to be the Myles Garrett wherever I was playing. So that's why 95 is important to me. It's also on my license plate. Usually when I pull up the flag fields, they know who I am. It says IC95, which is my initials, 95. But 95 is a very meaningful number to me. And again, it started and it reiterated when Myles Garrett, even a few years ago, was retweeting my sack videos and all that stuff. So it's kind of cool. So I've been 95 pretty much since I started my career 10 years ago, and I've never stopped being 95. So all
right. So you defensive. So what does the defensive line look like in flag football? How many defensive linemen do you have?
Well, it all depends on kind of what they're running, but if they're running a 3 lineman set, so basically say they're running a standard offense where you got one QB back there, you have one center that's going to give him the ball, and then the 2 linemen next to him. So basically, you have 3 linemen. If they're, at least the way my Jackie Moon coaches me, if they're blocking 3, you rush 4. If they're blocking 2, you rush 3, vice versa. But basically, if there's 3 linemen and the center actually blocked, you see, that's the thing about flag. A lot of times, the center, when he puts his head up, he can go out for it. Linemen can release for passes. See, that's the difference in the NFL rule versus flag. The lineman, once they pick, especially the center, when he picks his head up, he can go out for a pass. So again, say the center's leaking out, and you're rushing 3. Basically, you would have your 2 defensive ends, obviously hit the blockers or just get past the blockers, rush the QB, and the center. And then the 3rd rusher that was in the middle, almost like the D tackle, he would go out for the pass with the center to basically make sure he's matched up.
Yeah, because the center could be the QB's security blanket, if you will, right?
Yeah. And see, that's the thing about flag. Now, see, those sets I love because I'm a big dude. I love to bang around with the old linemen. We can get into that here in a second, Jason, as far as the physicality of it. But basically, those are my favorite sets. But the problem with today's flag is, especially Mike Tatum's offense is very complex. Like there's guys like him that just have such complex offenses. They don't run down linemen because they know that you can get to the quarterback. They know you can sack the quarterback. People like the Raiders and Reapers, as I learned this last week, they don't run stuff like that, dude. They're basically running a spread offense, which they're literally just they have no blockers at all. And they're literally using their 7 people to just go out for a pass. Like they're lining them all up. It's a quick offense. It's a spread offense. They're just basically a quick out, but they're lining up all. Basically, when you're running a spread, you're basically telling that defense, I don't give a crap who you are. We have better athletes than you. They have better speed. They have better athleticism than you. We're just going to run spread, get this ball out fast, and run it down and pass it or run it down your throat. Pretty much is what the spread offense. And that's what, honestly, for me, once they finally get rid of down linemen, I might be done, fellas. I'll be honest, because I'll be honest with you, fellas. Running after that, and now sometimes some flag teams run a double QB or a 3 QB set. So think about it this way, guys. If I'm running at the quarterback, I'm about to get a sack. He just tosses it off to the guy to the right side. So now I'm going to that guy. You know what I mean? There's so many complexes, to these offenses, man. It's unbelievable. But every offense just keeps getting better and better. But, man, I tell you, I'm a fan of the down lineman. It's kind of got that NFL feel to it. But, man, I tell you, a lot more teams nowadays, especially your national champions, they're running a lot of spread offense and they're running a lot of option-type plays where they're just letting their athletes do their thing, man.
Sounds like a load of fun, dude. And I commend you because I think the biggest misconception of flag football is that it's not physical. There's not a lot of competition, fewer injuries. From what I'm hearing, that is very far from the truth. It sounds like it's very physical. Like you got to respect the game or you will get injured. I mean, injuries do happen no matter what you play, but sounds like there's a lot of athletes, man, a lot of ballers out there playing flag football.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, that's me about the haters out there. People will be like, oh, flag football, dude. Like, oh, you're cool, bro. Like flag football. And it's like, what they need to understand is, especially what we play in Columbus and what I played in Cleveland, when it says full contact men's flag 8-on-8, they mean full contact, bro. I mean, I mean, hell, my one dude, KP, bless his heart. I hope he's doing well out there. He's healing well. He just broke his ankle on a little run play, a little QB sneak type action for his team. My dude, Jackie, tore his ACL, getting around 2 blockers. Injuries happen, man. I've been fortunate. I was only able to dislocate my finger in 10 years, but even that's a bitch. And even that finger, I'll be honest, fellas, it's still not even fully healed. But that's the thing about, again, this misconception of it's not full contact. I mean, guys, I've been punched in the face. I've been choked. I've been at one point I pissed off a lineman so bad that, or I guess just by beating him, Yokozuna like Samoan dropped me at like he basically got me on the ground, and then he like acted like he was falling, but he just literally Samoan dropped me with his big butt like on my chest. And I was just like, okay, what's going on here, dude? Like, we all have to go to, like, that's always my line to these guys. We all got to go back to work on Monday. Nobody's getting an NFL, contract here. Andrew Berry, our GM, isn't watching you. I mean, you're not going to go undrafted and get an invite to training camp. So there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on in flag unfortunately, for just, I guess I would say, the stupidity of some, men. But like I said, I've honestly, dude, sometimes that's what a lot of linemen do. If they can't block you, they'll do whatever they can to cheat. They'll choke you. They'll hold you. They'll rape your face. I don't know how many times I'll get home. My wife will tell you, I'll take my shirt off. Dude, it looks like I was a gladiator from the olden days, bro. There's scratch marks all over. I mean, you're talking like barracudas, where you're like, you got gashes here, gash here. And I'm just like, well, Jesus. I'm glad I had a 2-stat game at least. I look like shit, but that's the game of it, man. It's full contact, and especially the O-line and D-line. If you play D-line or O-line, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is full contact. And also, if you're a receiver and you've been bodied before, where again it's legal, they can contact you. And that's what a lot of guys, it's funny, a lot of the newer guys, maybe they played college, maybe they balled out in college. That first time where they go up for that pass in that 50-50 and some dude basically gives him a shoulder or gets that body on to where he's just too strong and he bobbles it on the ground. I mean, it happens, dude. Full contact is full contact, man. It's, like I said, 100%. It's you're going to get hurt. Injuries happen. And like I said, it is not if it's non-contact co-ed, that's completely different. They actually throw flags if you actually like push or shove or accidentally even hit a guy in his route. Full contact men's flag. We're going, boys. We're going. We're going at it. So.
Well, Keith Nash 85 on our YouTube page said ColdTrain'd gonna wreck this league. I posted that comment a little while ago on the show. I'll post it again. Here's one of the reasons why, man. I think it's interesting. You said you emulate your flag football game after Myles Garrett. Look at these biceps right there, bro. Look at them guns, man.
21-inch pythons.
I mean, that's ridiculous right there. ColdTrain'd didn't know I was going to put that picture up that big. But I saw that picture. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, that dude's a beast. Yeah. So I don't know who's going to be trying to stop the ColdTrain'd. I mean, I'm sure, where you show me a big man, there's always a bigger man, but I wouldn't want to stop you, buddy. I would not want to stop the ColdTrain'd getting across that line trying to sack the QB. Not me.
I mean, that's how I got my name started. It was mainly in Cleveland, where I'm 220. So, a lot of times it's a leverage game, and a lot of times in Cleveland, you'll get a lot of bigger linemen that they'll go low on you. So it's just, for a guy like me that has, especially I'm very top heavy, for a guy like me that can give leverage up top. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Now, let me put the disclaimer out there. Now, I have been bodied before. I've been bodied plenty of times, but I've also given my fair share of bodies. I've even had 2 guys at one time where I put them in the dirt. And I will say that as far as part of the game, guys, whether you get a sack or you don't, I've told my wife this line. She laughs at me when I've come home and told her this. There's nothing like putting a grown man face in the dirt, dude. I mean, I'll tell you, guys, out of all my accomplishments in my life, when you're lining up to somebody, and maybe he's even running his mouth at you, like, ColdTrain'd more like the slow train, and you're lining up against him, and you get that jump off on him, and instead of swipe moving him, you just bull rush him into the freaking ground. There's nothing like it, baby. I don't even, at that point, and I have made one play like that. There's one play in my lifetime, of course in Cleveland, not in Columbus, where I was able to body a lineman. He kept, trying to block me, coming back. I bodied him and was able to strong hand the quarterback and still pull the flag for the sack. It was hilarious. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I don't recommend that at all, just because it's very risky, because at the end of the day, just get the quarterback, dude. Don't worry about the shit-talking lineman. Put him in the dirt, move on, get to the quarterback. But like I said, that particular play I was proud of because I know he was talking shit during that game. It was like, all right, dude, like you're running your mouth, bro. I just play, and I even made a post a couple days ago on Twitter and my Facebook that I know a lot of my flag guys can relate to. I'm getting old, man. I just play flag now, bro. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to meet you in the parking lot after the game. I'm 35 years old, dude. I got a daughter at home. I got a great wife. I have a great house. I have a good life. I go there on Sundays, basically like Nick Chubb does. I go with my work pail. I go with my book bag. Got all my stuff in it, all my flags, all my gear that I need, my jerseys. I put on my cleats like anyone else, line up against them all. I don't care if it's a pro team, lower team, upper team, doesn't matter. I'll line up to whoever, do the best I can, make as many plays as I can, and then go home to my regular life, drive home, go back to my regular life on a Sunday, and it's right back to, like I said, back to regular life. But I think that's where a lot of people, flag, it's a great thing. It's a great hobby. It's a great thing to get into. But there are some guys in the league that whether it's Cleveland or Columbus, like I said, again, it's like they're acting like you're going to get an NFL contract out of this. And I'm not saying by their play, but just by the way they act. And if they get offended, whether they're a little shit talking on the field, it just shouldn't be that serious, man. Just play the game, respect everybody, tag hands at the end of the game, and just be done with it, man. I think that's what Tatum and especially a lot of us in the Columbus League we're trying to get better at, to where we're all just trying to be better at just like, let's all just be cool, be respectful to each other, play the game, get out. Let's all go back to a home to our families at the end of the day. That's kind of what we're trying to get at now.
Well, ColdTrain'd, I think that is just way cool, dude. We talk about the Browns a lot on this show, as we should. This is the Browns podcast, but it's also nice to see like a picture of another side of you. Like I know you're a Browns fan, but you also like flag football, and we just got to see a snapshot of what that's all about. Sounds like you got a lot of things going on that are really cool there. You got an event coming up on July 22nd. I hope people that are listening to this that are in that area sign up for it or just go be a spectator. It sounds like a really cool event. I know if I was close, I would definitely go see it, but I'm not. but I would love to. So thanks for sharing that, man. And
we'll get you out to a ColdTrain'd game eventually. I'm not done yet, Jason.
Yeah.
I'm not done yet. So
I would love to, man.
Get you out visiting because, like I said, right now, obviously that event's going on July 22nd, but we just started summer session. So we just started week 1 was last week. So this will go on till I want to say Tatum said September 10th was the first day of fall session would start. So yeah, it's going to be basically the whole summer. So
yeah. I'm gonna miss Ohio by 8 days, dude. I'm gonna be there August 2nd. That's 10 days. So I'm just gonna miss it. That's okay. Let's get into some Browns talk, guys. Mikey P, I'm interested in your thoughts. You've been sitting there quietly, kind of like me, just listening to ColdTrain'd's flag football. But let's talk about some Browns here. We have training camp is starting July 22nd. Right now, it's kind of the dead time of the season, right? There's not really much going on. I mean, there's a little bit of news that's going on in the NFL, but right now things are pretty quiet. But they're all gearing up because July 22nd is coming up very fast. They're going to be starting training camp in West Virginia and at the Greenbrier, the 22nd through the 30th, and then they're coming back to Berea. But Mikey P, I'll start with you. What are your final thoughts of everything that's been going on this offseason, the new addition? What are your thoughts, man? I mean, compared to where we were at the end of last year to where we sit today, what do you think the Browns have done, particularly Andrew Berry, what he's done to bolster this roster to make it better in preparation for 2023?
I mean, I think he's done a couple things. I mean, defense first and foremost. You changed the voice in the room. Obviously, that wasn't working, but you brought a guy in who's well respected, has that instant credibility, has been a winner wherever he's gone. You have guys like Rodney McLeod who have come in and want to play for Jim Schwartz, and those type of guys, maybe at the end of the day, like Rodney McLeod type, maybe he's only playing 20, 25 snaps a game. Like he's not playing. He's not even a starter. But you need those guys to carry that weight in the locker room. Those proven veterans that have they've been through the battles, they've been through the wars, and come out on the other side. They've experienced winning. Because at the end of the day, we're still trying to change the culture of the Cleveland Browns. So everything you do is a culture change. I think we've changed it, and I think it's trending in the right direction. I think we're very close to teetering and going over. I think we have the quarterback. I think we've addressed some of the holes on defense. You know, they still may bring in another defensive tackle, you know, potentially. They may address another linebacker. We might bring in another running back. But I think so far what Andrew Berry has done is filled and plugged in holes. They've shown they're not afraid to spend money. They've invested in the positions that they need to. Now it's just left to the coaches and the players to put it all together, come together. I think what people don't quite understand is that those 8 days going to the Greenbrier in West Virginia, what you don't understand is this is more how training camp used to be. Like back in the old days, they didn't have training camp in your home city or home site. Like you always went out of town, you'd stay somewhere, and they bunk out. These guys are going to probably have roommates. They may not even have their own rooms. What that does is those 8 days is all about coming together, like everyone getting on the same page, one common goal. So then when you break from there and you go back to Berea, you've built on that, because if you don't trust the guy on the other side of you, it's so hard to win in this league or do anything in any sport. You have to have trust and belief in that other guy. And I think what this does is it started last year and it brings over this year. Constantly trying to bring that locker room together, make sure there's no fractures in it, make sure they're all together, one common goal, coming together. This is the year. Like these guys know this is a make or break year for a lot of players, a lot of coaches. Like there is so much invested in this. I trust and believe that they understand that, and I'm excited for the season. I know I say that every year. I'm excited for every season, but I just think this year something special is on the horizon.
I love it, Mikey P. ColdTrain'd, I got a question for you. Has Andrew Berry done his job this offseason for the Browns to compete for the AFC North this year?
Oh, 100%, yeah. I think AB and his staff has done what they needed to do. Now it's more on, and I'm posing a different question to you, but basically, to me, it would be more, is Stefanski and his coaching staff in line to get this job done? Because in past years, even last year, we were able to say, hey, I think the roster looks good, but it looks like some holes at linebacker, D tackle, maybe rush too. Don't really like Clowney there. I mean, we had a lot of questions last year, let's be honest. But
quarterback.
This year, yeah, well, that too. This year is the first time in my life that I will say, and I think that was maybe my first tweet that I sent out once Barry was kind of done with this roster. Stefanski, no excuses, brother. I mean, you have a roster on paper. I know we say that every year, but this year's, you know, the best year we can ever say it, because it is the reality, especially when you look at the depth all the way down for some of these positions. This is the best the Browns team has looked in many, many years. So this is the year that got to get it done, Kevin. You have to, because AB and his staff, in my opinion, even towards the draft, have done what they needed to do to bring talent to this roster. So.
Speaking of Kevin Stefanski, Mikey P, is this a make it or break it year for Kevin Stefanski?
Oh, this is the last year, so it's definitely a make it or break it year. You're talking about the difference of 3 games. I mean, if you look at last year, what did we finish? 7-10.
Mm-hmm.
Finished 7-10, and realistically, you look at the difference between 7-10 and 11-6 last year was razor thin. And it's like that every year. And I think this is definitely if you have another 7-10 season, you're going to see changes on the coaching staff. I truly believe that. Like you can't have another 7-10 season.
No.
You don't see too many coaches have 3 losing seasons in a row and survive these days. It's just not how it happens in this league. And I mean, a lot of people talk about how long Mike Tomlin's been around, but guy's never had a losing season. He's at least in his bad years, he's 500. You know what I mean? So, I mean, prime example, look at a guy like Ron Rivera. He changed the culture in Washington. They made the playoffs in his first season. They've had 2 losing seasons after that. And after last year, Washington fans were ready to run the guy out of town. Like, it doesn't take very long in this league for changes to happen, and it's definitely a make or break season. And I'm gonna err on the side of we make it this season. I see a high side potential 12-5, middle potential probably 10-7. I think worst case scenario for us is 9-8.
Ooh.
Let me ask you this, Mikey: does 9-8 get Stefanski fired?
9-8 gets you fired if you miss the playoffs. Yes.
That's yeah.
ColdTrain'd, what is your floor and your ceiling as far as expectations this year? Like, we all have our expectations of what we think this team can do, but what are your expectations? Like, what do you think is the basement, like the worst that this team can do versus the best? Like, what are your expectations this year? Floor and ceiling.
That's the problem, dude. The ceiling is playoffs or bust. That's the ceiling, bro. Or that's the freaking basement, bro. Us as fans have been waiting for this type of season for how many years, to where, unfortunately, guys, I hate to say this, like, yeah, dude, it's playoffs or bust. That's the basement. So I guess your ceiling would be Super Bowl, Jason, if you want me to keep going. But
I agree.
The basement is making the freaking playoffs because, again, you have the team, you have the coaching, you have the players. A lot of these guys also have been in the system. Deshaun's going in the system the second year now. I mean, this is it, boys. Like, there is no more room for error. There's no more like, oh, we got ran on a little bit by Atlanta. We're 2-3. We'll be all right. No, there is no more of that, dude. Like, we got to win these games, bro. We got to win, baby.
I think I agree with you, man. I mean, like, if you look at the expectations for Browns fans across Browns Twitter, I think that most people expect them to at least make the playoffs. Like, if you don't make the playoffs, I think jobs are at stake. People are going to lose their jobs. We're going through kind of not maybe a rebuild, but you're talking about a new coaching staff, possibly a new GM, possibly, right? I mean, I don't think anybody's safe at that point.
I mean, there's a lot of that this season. If you look at the AFC overall, like the AFC picture, like, I mean, you're going to have a lot of teams that are teetering, like the Jets. They've invested a lot. Rodgers in. You got Robert Saleh's probably on the hot seat if they don't make the playoffs. Mike McDaniel in Miami could be on the hot seat if they don't make the playoffs in Miami. It's brutal, man. Like the AFC, if you think there's only going to be 7 playoff teams. I think you can pretty much guarantee Kansas City is one of them. Almost every year, and then you got 6 other teams fighting for that spot.
And see, with that said, I was going to say this last point. You almost have to win the division. I don't want to play the 7-team game, guys. Like, honestly, I don't know if that's Stefanski's message, but not only do we want to, it's playoffs or bust, it's win the fucking division, bro. You got to kick our division's rivals' ass, because we might not get in with I mean, it might be one of them crazy years, guys, the way these teams are hyped up in the AFC, where what is it? You would have to be, 11-6 almost. And like what if maybe that's the top off? We're 10-7 and don't get it. It's like one of those years we had Derek Anderson. It's like, I don't want to do the 7. I don't do that scenario shit, bro. F that. Just win the division. Win the division, dude. You have no choice.
And I think, 9-8, that's the reason I said 9-8 could still get you in the playoffs, is I think the AFC top to bottom is so good. Like Houston's going to be better. Jacksonville took that step forward.
I understand.
I don't think you don't have those tanking type teams or those terrible teams. You could put the Browns in the NFC right now in any division, and I would say we could win that division.
Yeah.
Other than maybe Philly. Philly would still be tough, like that. The NFC East beating Philly, but like you put us in the NFC, we're a lock for the playoffs. Like we're in the playoffs, like book it.
Mm-hmm.
But in that AFC, man, there are literally probably 13 teams that have a shot at the 7 teams. So you're really looking at there's only 3 teams in there. I think are non-playoff teams completely. Like they're not making the playoffs. Like the AFC is loaded.
Yeah. Like you said, there's 7 teams that make it. You got 4 division winners and 3 wild cards. That's it. So I'm with ColdTrain'd, man.
Continues, I mean, think about it. If this trend continues, the NFL has talked about doing this. They have talked about taking only division winners and then reseeding the wild cards from both conferences. Like, you could have potentially 5-6 wild cards come off in the same conference. Like, just go by overall record.
They need to do that. They need to do that because I'm sick of the NFC getting in on that BS. They need to do that.
Yeah, you have garbage.
I hope they do that, man.
The NBA has talked about doing that a lot. Like, you can tell Major League Baseball is getting ready to do that because that's why they just changed the way they do the schedules. That's why they all have a complete balanced schedule. All sports are going to that because nobody wants to see these 8 and 9. Like, we've had a couple of years recently where you had friggin' under 500 teams in the playoffs.
That's horrible to see that. Yeah, it's horrible.
Well, we are going to save this discussion. I want to pick up this discussion next week where we left off tonight because I think it's interesting. But we have to land this plane because the Barking Brown show with Jacob Roach and Nick Cons is on next. So we got to end this show tonight. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. ColdTrain'd, thanks for talking about your flag football, dude. I think that's just fantastic. It really is. So
it was my pleasure, sirs. It was my honor and pleasure, sirs.
It was awesome, man. It really was.
I appreciate the time. I appreciate the time myself.
And to any kids out there that have been watching, make sure, like the ColdTrain'd, you take your vitamins and drink your milk because it does a body good.
And this is why you take your vitamins and drink your milk, because one day you might have biceps like the ColdTrain'd.
And then you'll be calling yourself the ColdTrain'd.
That's right. Well, gentlemen, this was a lot of fun, man. We will see you next week, next Tuesday at 7 p.m. We like to end all of our shows with the Go Browns. So, Mikey P, ColdTrain'd, if you'll join me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Browns.
Go Browns.
We will